Today we have Carlos Eid from the German Energy Agency. It's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome, Carlos.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. And thanks, Giuseppe and all of the team for the invite.
So today the topic is clearly renewable energies. Carlos is gonna bring us to his world. Basically, he works in Germany, but he's not from Germany. So a lot of internationalization, cultural exchange, and a lot of vibration here. So I leave the floor to Carlos. He's gonna introduce himself, and then we're gonna talk about this very, very important sector of social impact and sustainable development.
Great. So my name is Carlos. I'm actually from Bolivia, and another fun fact about internationalization: I met Giuseppe about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, in Buenos Aires, where I studied. So I studied political science and international relations in both Argentina and Switzerland. And I've been in Germany for about 4 or 5 years now. And actually, the reason why I moved here is not only because after finishing school, I did an exchange here, and I really liked how things were going. Now speaking about renewable energies and environmental conservation. So basically, 4 or 5 years ago, that was also the reason that pushed me to move back here. So I did. And when I did that, so again, because of my background, I was working with other things in the past. I was working as an interpreter and also as a political advisor. And again, so what moved me to move to Germany is to pursue a career in the realm of renewable energies and environmental conservation. And so I did.
Sorry to interrupt, but you went from politics to renewable energies. Why this transition? How did it happen?
So basically the thing is, when I was an interpreter and also working in this, political context, I had at the beginning this illusion, and I think, or ideal, and I think that a lot of people, if not most people, studying international relations and political science have this, idealism when it comes about multilateralism, right? Like we have this view of international organizations of being, this thing that keep that make the world a better place. So I did my time there a little bit. I was working for the G77 and eventually for the government of Bolivia and other international institutions. And quite frankly, I was very disappointed. It wasn't really for me because I was feeling frustrated because all of the work I was putting to, all of the effort I was putting to, materialized to nothing. And it was, I'm not judging, like it can be a great thing for some people, but to me, honestly, to work really hard for many months or even years to just have a document that no one will read, will just get coffee mug stains in desks. It was like too much. So
I totally understand. And this is why also we created Ethics for Growth, because here with our approach, we want to be extremely pragmatic, extremely practical. We want to do things rather than, of course, the cooperation part is important, the documentation and all these things, also some bureaucracy sometimes, but on our side, we want to do. And I think also this was your desire. So tell us about what you are actually doing now to achieve social impact and sustainable development with Dena, with the German Agency for the Renewable Energy. So
exactly,
very curious.
So so then I had a brief tenure in the private sector in my home country for a few months, and then again the frustration just grew bigger and bigger because I was doing things, I was seeing things getting done, but I wasn't having this feeling that I am doing these things for a greater good. And so I went to Germany, and again, I started since I haven't studied that, and I want to say this because it's very important, because a lot of people have interest in the energy transition, in renewable energies, but they think to themselves, oh, I'm not an engineer, or oh, I haven't done a master in this or that. So when I came here, what I thought to myself, okay, what should I do? Should I study again? I didn't want to. I already studied like 5 years that everyone studies, whatever, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't want to do it again. So what did I do? I looked for an internship, and that's a great thing about Germany and many other countries. I think that it's a great form of inserting yourself in the job market. You know, so I started my internship at the European Energy Exchange, and I also want to highlight this because at that time I learned a lot about the connection, the deep connection between finance and the energy transition, which is something that, of course, has always been there. It's always in the debate, but as social scientists, we tend to overlook at it, and we also tend to have a somewhat negative view of finances. And this is a no-go because without a sustainable, like the key of sustainability is finance. Like it needs to be economically viable. So what I'm doing now for Dena, so at the time at the European Energy Exchange, I was involved in the political and regulatory affairs department. So I was mostly focused on monitoring the development of energy policy across the EU, especially with the focus on market integration. And then when I was at Dena, I was doing at the beginning a little bit like something similar to cooperation. I was working at the French-German energy platform, where, you know, like there's this very special relationship between Germany and France. And since I also had some background in France and in French-speaking countries, it was like a very good match. So basically, this is a platform that coordinates all of the binational initiatives and projects. It's a very, very interesting model. And then when I was, I would say, hired like permanently at Dena, it was to work where I am still working for a promotion program. The program is itself interesting, and the structure is a bit complex because in Germany you have this thing called the third sector, which is quite big. So for example, the German Energy Agency, a few words about it, it's a state company. It is a private company, but it's owned by the state. So it's in German, it's called Deutsche Energieagentur, so German Energy Agency, which is why I'm going to be saying Dena, which is the initials, the acronym in German, right? So it is a GmbH, it's like a limited company when it comes about its legal structure, but its actionaries are exclusively the Federal Republic of Germany. So meaning it has the benefit, and this is something I really like, it has the benefit of being the structure of a private company, which tends to be more dynamic, meaning that people working there, the jobs are not like political appointees. So it's just normal employees who apply in the free job market and just get the job and do the job. But at the same time, we do have a lot of compliance, norms and regulations and all of that comes when working for the state. So to me, it was an ideal match because it could give me, this feeling of doing something for the greater good, so to speak. But at the same time, being able to be a part of a structure that is not, like a ministry where you have thousands of people and every process is extremely bureaucratic.
So this actually would be my following question, because you are basically working for a state-owned company, okay? So what do you think about the importance in general on a global level, according to your experience, of governments into the energy transition? Do you think it's something that the governments must be involved in, or could be achievable also with the engagement of the private sector?
I mean, it's both, right? Like the not only governments have to be involved. After all, it is an initiative that was started by governments. I mean, of course, it began with the people, in the 70s in countries like the US and countries like Germany, where people started to realize the impacts of, the thing that was to come, like this climate change, right? And like the first milestone, I would say, right, is the Kyoto Protocol, and that was like completely an initiative made from governments. And of course, it makes sense. I mean, one cannot expect from the private sector to see the big picture. It's not their job. It's nice. It's amazing when a private company has a vision for the future. There are some companies that have it, although I am always somewhat skeptical, because obviously the mission of a private company is to make profit.
Yeah,
if it's not right, but the governments, their role, they are there because they need to think not 1 or 2 years from now, but 5, 10, 50, 100 years from now.
I totally agree with you on that. But I also know that your agency works a lot with private startups, basically. And you mentioned a very a word that we care a lot for, that is profit. Because in Ethics for Growth, we believe a lot that social impact and sustainability could be a driver for gain a competitive advantage on the market. So for businesses that actually do profit, so not in the non-for-profit sector, but actually in the competitive market. So do you think is it possible to make profit in the renewable energy sector?
Oh yeah, it's an incredibly profitable business, if you ask me. Obviously, I mean, not only it's a trend it's not even a trend anymore. It is a sector. It's a fast-growing sector. It's a really fast-growing sector. It has had its moments, ups and downs, because of course we have the problem with renewable energies. We have the same problem that we have now with digitalization. There needs to be, like, we're on the technical aspect, we are very advanced, but we're lagging behind when it comes about regulation and legislation, and when it comes also about creating, the necessary framework for the development of it. So for example, one thing that to me is very frustrating when talking about this, because so what I do basically, I make pilot projects abroad. Part of my job is help German SMEs, small and mid-sized enterprises, in the area of renewables and energy efficiency and areas alike, to develop pilot projects or reference projects abroad. So far, for example, we have done, since the year 2004, our program is called Renewable Energy Solutions Program, so it's pretty much self-explanatory. And we have done about 95 projects in over 65 countries so far. So imagine what it's like to make one of these projects for the first time in a country. And the surprising thing is that in these cases, especially thanks to the latest developments, when it comes about, for example, solar technology, right? So 20 years ago, it wasn't that profitable because the production costs and the efficiency of modules was not even, I don't know, not even comparable to what we have now. Now, for example, there are some projects, although big scale, say in Mexico, in the south of the US, where you can even get like $1 per kilowatt. Like, I'm talking really big projects, right?
Yeah.
But that is like, it's crazy because 15 years ago, this was unthinkable. And the other thing, like the other aspect about how profitable renewable energy can be is the following. If we compare like the kilowatt generated, right, with fossil fuels and with renewable energies, we are overlooking something. We have been subventioning fossil fuels since forever. Actually, if you take actually the World Energy Council and the IRENA, the International Energy Agency, they published in 2017. I don't know if there's an update on it, and I can upload it here later if you want. There's a super interesting paper called Zombie Energy, and it's basically telling us that we have, like, really fossil fuels. It's a zombie. It's a zombie that we are financing through our taxes all the time without knowing about this. And this is something that I am very angry about, because in many countries, whenever we start funding or subventioning renewable energies, we know about this. And this is why a lot of people complain, right? We were saying, like, okay, why is 30% of my electricity bill going to subvention windmills or solar panels? I don't care about any of that, although you should, but you can't say that. But at the same time, you know, whenever you go buy a burger or make grocery shopping, from that VAT that you're paying, I don't know, in Italy it's like 16 or 18%. I don't know.
It's 22. It's quite high.
Oh my God, it's 22. So wow. So from that 22%, a good chunk of it, it's going to subvention tankers bringing oil, you know, from Libya.
Yeah, actually, this is a great matter, and here it is where international politics and actually administration and governments interact and intersect with research, science, and startups and business and development. We are almost there, but we still have 4 minutes. I have one very important question. You say you do projects abroad, and you mentioned also Mexico and regulations. How do you cope with emerging countries? Like, how easy or how difficult it is to do projects there? And do you think that there could be the option for people from those countries to actually start their own projects?
So going to the first part, how difficult or how easy it is, it depends drastically on the country. So in my experience, countries that are already suffering the impacts of climate change, which are usually subtropical countries, they are on it because they are feeling it, you know. So for example, if you go to, of course there are always exceptions, of course there are always countries where politics and the social situation doesn't allow to develop things for the future because there are more pressing issues, understandably. But for example, one thing, just to give you an example, one thing that not many people know is, say, a country like Honduras. Even though it's a country that has a deep political and social crisis for a long time now, it's at the same time, together with Chile, when it, proportionally speaking, one of the countries where you find the most developed market for solar power. Right? Because many of these countries are relying either on tourism or mostly tourism, I would say. This is a big catalyzer, and to be honest, the fact, like, tourism is a double-edged sword, right? So on the one hand, it's creating an environmental disaster because people are just flying like crazy everywhere.
Sorry, Carlos. Little spoiler here. In a couple of weeks, one of these chats that we will have, Social Innovation 20 Minutes Off, it's going to be about sustainable tourism. So,
amazing! I like to. I'm definitely gonna log into that.
But we have the last minute because we are very sharp with time. So
second part of the question.
20 seconds, because then I need to. I don't want to go.
Sure. Okay, so okay, 10 seconds. Good. So okay, so if it's easy, is it hard? It really depends on the country. Some countries need to survive, especially, say, island states. And then the second part, do people in emerging markets can make their own projects? Definitely, for sure. Although I must say, access to technology needs to be improved. It needs to be improved. countries need to step up their game and really make things happen when it comes about import exemptions, tax exemptions, when it comes about important equipment for regenerative energy. So that needs to be done. Without that, we're missing something. Without that, we're perpetuating this model, in which industrialized countries are just exporting technology, and that's it. I mean,
and we can make a great part of this. Actually, one of our idea is to invest a lot in emerging countries as Ethic for Growth and with the people of emerging countries, because apart from technology, sometimes there is also education that is needed and competencies. So we want to deliver that.
Well, if I can say only one thing, I'm sorry, because you just had a cue. One thing I love about my program, that I love about my job, is not only that we do these pilot projects, and not only that we serve German companies. These companies, if they want our help, they need to make long-lasting strategic partnerships in that country. So if they want to get our support, they need to get the partnerships locally, and they also need to create knowledge transfer measures.
That's amazing.
So seminaries and all of that, so people locally are able to operate, but also to maintain these facilities or installations.
This is a key aspect. Thank you, Carlos, for highlighting this. We went 1 minute extra time, but it was very important to underline this. And now, unfortunately, we have to finish our chat because the format is this one. But and I would stay here 1 hour talking about it. But actually, it will be possible. We will do it, right, Carlos? Because Carlos will be one of our guest speakers of the Ethics for Growth community, and subscriptions are going to open soon. So Carlos is going to actually be going into deep into what we were just briefly anticipating now. It's going to be one of our modules next year, but subscriptions are going to start soon. So to keep updated, to keep being posted, follow our pages and be ready to subscribe as soon as possible. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much, and look forward to talking to you again about these subjects. And we'll wait for you in our community. Thank you very much.
Well, what can I say? Thank you all, really. Thanks, Giuseppe. Thanks, Claudio. We were talking recently, and everyone in the team and everyone watching this. And yes, please keep me posted, and everyone just subscribe as soon as they launch the website. And I wish you all a great